Hello YouTubers, this is NHRA 1975. Here is the budget brakes for a drag race car video that I said I would make. I was having some problems staging when I was going through the pre-stage and bringing the RPMs up to hit that second ball. I was often pushing through the beams, so I knew something was up. So start investigating it, and basically what I did is used a brake pressure gauge on each caliper or wheel cylinder, and got some readings. And what I do is, or what I found was, when the brake pressure would be depressed, it would get up to 1,000 psi on a maximum indicator, and then eventually it wouldn't sustain itself, and eventually it would start to reduce. And upon further investigation, what's happening probably was the seals were failing in the master cylinder. So I went about and replaced the master cylinder. It's basically a well, first of all, it's a Dorman part M36367. That's M36367. And that's a manual brake booster, Corvette style, as they say. You can go and basically get any auto parts store and get this. It's not a very expensive master cylinder, and it's you could look it up for, like, say, 1976 Corvette with a manual brake system, and you'll probably come up with the same number. So I'll just say I replaced that, and I did some other stuff as well, but I'll talk about it later. But I replaced the master cylinder, and voila, the brake pressure was able to sustain itself. So it was a faulty master cylinder situation. So that's been replaced. Along the way, I also fixed up the lines. I've made various brackets. That right there is your line lock, and it's teed for a brake pressure gauge, but I cleaned that up, made little brackets and welded things, so it's a lot neater now. There is my adjustable proportioning valve, which is for my rear, which, to tell you the truth, upon further investigation again, you really don't need, in a drag brake situation, to have a differentiation of pressures. With this is on a full, like, lock deal. If I really want to, I get 1,000 psi in the back and front. But I phoned someone named the Brake Man and talked to him, and he said just keep it at 1,000 on each four corners, or 900 or whatever it is, the maximum, and don't get into it. I also eliminated all the stock stuff, so there's no hold-off valve, combination valve, any of that's all gone, because a lot of that's set up for tire sizes smaller than this, and also there's other conditions too, like the hold-off valve, which was somewhere up here, was used for slippery conditions and ice, so that you wouldn't lock up the rears. Or I'm not sure exactly. There's a lot of reading on that, but in a drag race situation, you're only really needing it for stopping on dry surfaces. So that's all gone now. Out front, since I'm a budget guy, I don't have a nice Wilwood brake system here and like this. This is just a stock, your stock calipers with your stock discs. I did upgrade to braided instead of the rubber hoses, so that's quite a lot better for strength and everything. This is just a kit made by Russell, and pretty much anyone can get that, but I've always wondered if there was a way I could get this so I could reduce the drag on it with washers or something in there, and messing around with. I tried to mess around with the back of the pads and everything, but there really doesn't seem much you can do in a stock situation. I'm pretty sure the drag race guys have a lot less drag on their calipers, but it's quite an expensive kit. So hopefully one day I can afford that. I guess that's it for the front. Just the lines coming out there. This one here, this one down here is a little bit, because it's the rear brakes. It's 3/16 for the most part in the whole system, but this is the only 1/4 inch area. I maybe could have gone 3/16 anyways, but I wanted to stay true to what they had originally. but it's only for length. It's not the entire length of the brake system. So I think they used to use 1/4 inch tubing down there because the rear drums would take more fluid. All right. Next up, take a trip under the car here, and I'll show you what's going on under there. So under the car here, going to the rear brake system, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it now. I did put a something called a 10 psi residual valve, and the reason why I'm putting that to the rear of the car is because the drums require 10 pounds of residual pressure to counteract the spring tension in the drum system, which tends to pull the shoes away from the drums. So if any of the stuff, all the stuff I left off in terms of the stock stuff, that's the one thing I've sort of tried to replicate. So any guys, you can put it on, or I mean that comes in handy too if you have a master cylinder lower. I think it's only a 2 pound or something, but anyways, so coming back to the rest of the car here, that's all the 1/4 inch line, and I go down to 3/16. Now, I couldn't figure this friggin' thing out because originally they had another line in here that was a smaller downgrade or something, so I kind of had to use a small piece of braided, some AN stuff here, which I'm still not too happy about, but it works. It retains pressure. You're supposed to keep your flex braided line to a minimal in the system, so it doesn't leak. I've used it. I've been pushing on the brake pedal a lot, so I know it's okay. The reason was too is to get it in here. This whole thing here, I don't know if you can see that. This whole thing here was a real tight turn and everything, so I kind of just said I'll cheat a bit and use this braided, but oh well. Again, yeah, I go with the stainless steel line to the back, so that should help. And out back here with the drums, I just went with drums. These drums, just a very basic drum. There's nothing fancy about it, although I painted it black, which looks kind of nice. But I didn't put much. There's not much pressure on these in terms of the adjustment. I left them a bit loose, so that to try to reduce drag. They're not. I don't think you can get. I don't think it would make a hell of a difference if it were tight as all hell. But I left them. I left them a bit loose. So that's just a very basic drum system. So other than that, I mean, there's a few tips I should tell you about if you want to go to a master. If you're going to a manual master from a power, you need to have your right notch. You have to switch your notch on where the pivot point is, because with the manual there's more leverage required, I think. So the pivot point changes. So if you go to a manual braking system, you want to make sure about using that other hole. As well, probably can't see it anyways. Up here in the darkness there is a brake push rod that also changes its length too, so you want to make sure to keep that within spec, or else you have problems as well. And just to show you the action on this thing, this is just my hand, but I get up to 900 psi on a good lock. So anyways, that's the brake system, and Them's the brakes, as they say.